Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and here I have a unique vine with a very unique fruit. This is hops, and the hops fruit is very important for human consumption. Well, you might ask why we've never seen hops fruit sold in any supermarket. Well, they are not eaten out of hand usually. They are used to flavor beer. Beer has probably been with mankind since before agriculture, but definitely since mankind started to grow grains in Egypt and Mesopotamia and surrounding areas. Pretty much the first stuff they made out of the grains was beer. Basically in Egypt, beer and bread was more or less the same. The beer was pretty low in alcohol and not really liquid, and the bread was basically the same stuff, quite liquid. And even today a lot of people call beer liquid bread. But it seems that the sweet taste of beer was not really to the taste of real man, so they had to flavor it with something. And they found the hops. I wonder how they found out that those fruit here can make beer taste bitter and beer-like instead of sweet. But hops has been added to beer for a very long time, and I've read about a lot of hop substitutes. They used buxus in France and some other strange herbs and shrubs in other parts of the world, but all those uses they either got outright banned or they kind of fell out of use because nothing could really replace the hops. And about 500 years ago, the Bavarian king introduced the first law about beer brewing, and it said only water, malt, and hops. 3 ingredients you can add, like water, grains, and this only permitted spice you can add to the beer. And even today, Bavaria is the biggest hops producer in the world, not the biggest beer producer. I guess it would be like China and followed by the US. But Bavaria is still the biggest hops producer in the world. The area of Heidelberg also had some commercial hops plantations until about 30 years ago. I still saw the last hops plantations, but by now commercial hops growing has been abandoned here. It used to be quite important in areas of Germany with a good climate because, well, hops needs a specific climate, quite good soil, and a lot of work, more work probably than any other plant you grow in Germany. It was actually really worth the trouble. People usually used it to pay taxes with it. It was so expensive you could pay all the taxes on your farm just with hops. Well, let's look at this hops fruit. Since we don't have any commercial hops plantations in this area, I had to make the choice either to make the video about some wild hops growing somewhere on some trees or at some walls, or here I took some ornamental hops variety in the Teachers College of Heidelberg. Well, this is the Hops Inflorescence. Well, it looks kind of strange. It looks like there is just some strange scales or leaves and some yellow powder. Well, what is the flower? What is the fruit here? This yellow powder really looks like pollen. So could this be the pollen? Well, no, not really. There are glands on the fruit which produce, well, they're called lupulin glands, and they produce this yellow powder. And speaking of the fruit, the fruit can kind of fly, as you can see here. Now it flies just downwards because there is no wind. But imagine if there was some wind, it would take those scales away and transport them a couple dozen or even a couple 100 meters. And since hops likes to grow along rivers, I guess the river can transport them somewhere further. And if you look closely at those scales at the base, you can see a little bump, which is the seed. So those scales are basically the fruit. Let's find a nice and... here is a... Oops, I tend to lose them. Okay. Now this is a nice pollinated fruit. There is the heavy seed attached to the base of the scale. So, see, the scale flew away. This is the tiny seed. Well, I guess those lupulin glands, they were made to produce this, bitter flavor so that no animal eats the fruit. Well, let's try this stuff. Hops for me has a very specific smell. It smells like garlic, but somehow in a more aromatic and milder way. However, the taste is not like garlic. Let's try it. Here we have the base of some scales with the seeds and with the lupulin. At the beginning there's still some garlicky taste. Phew. But then you get overwhelmed by crazy bitterness. Phew. So expecting some really nice and mild garlic taste, you get hit by this bitterness. Well, definitely nothing you could eat out of hand, but it seems in well measured amounts it can make sweet tasting beer into a drink for real men. The hops also has tons and tons of medicinal uses. I do not want to cover them all here because it's gonna make the video quite long. But it's also used as a medicine for a lot of different conditions. It's also used as an ornamental, as you can see. Also, some German beer gardens, well, indoor beer gardens tends to decorate their rooms with hops. So yeah, ornamental, an important medicinal plant, but the most important use is still with beer. It's funny that for so many centuries or thousands of years nobody has found anything that can replace hops in brewing beer. Really nice smell. I might get a couple of those things home. It's a really nice mild garlicky smell without any trace of the bitterness you find in the taste. So folks, this was the hops, the most important and actually the only really important spice for beer brewing. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the parks and gardens of Germany. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.